Welcome to Grip Breaker Podcast,
where we talk about everything grappling.
where we ask the pros how to improve the ground game.
Where we throw down the real issues surrounding the grappling world. Where we find out why people even do this crazy sport.
Welcome to the Grip Breaker Podcast, where grapplers come to philosophize.
All right, guys, welcome to the first episode of the Grip Breaker Podcast with your host, Giovanni.
And Sonny.
All right, and today we got with us
Eric.
All right, Eric. So Eric's going to be our very first guest ever on the Grip Breaker Podcast. All right, so there's going to be more to come. So Eric, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I live here in Ukaipa. I train jiu-jitsu. I'm a purple belt. I've been going for about 5 years. I'm the manager at Amazon. I have 3 boys. I just love to train here. So yeah, I'm here to just kind of share the love of jiu-jitsu.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, with jiu-jitsu, how can you say that it changed your life?
Well, jiu-jitsu has helped me to be more calm. It's helped me to be more confident in any situation. I remember when I was starting to train, I would go to the gym all the time, and I would see people that are, really strong, really big. And, it's natural to be intimidated when I see big people that are really young and healthy and strong.
Sure.
And I realized that after a while when I was going to jiu-jitsu, that I was not really scared of anybody, that I had confidence in the room around whoever is there, whether they're young, old, men, women, it doesn't matter, because in jiu-jitsu, I roll with all types of people. And I also learn how to deal with the strength of different people, what is possible against different people, what's not possible against different people, how I can keep myself safe, and also how I can keep others safe. Because, I think I've learned that in a real fight, you never know what to expect. And the person could be small. You might just need to hold them down and get away. The person could be big. They might be able to actually hurt you, and you need to be able to hurt them. It really is kind of unpredictable when it comes down to it in a real fight. And so in jiu-jitsu, I've learned to be confident in any situation. So I think that's the main thing that jiu-jitsu has done for me personally. Confidence is very, very important.
Yes. Yeah, and tell us a little bit about the start of your career. How did it start when you first joined jiu-jitsu?
Okay, so I started with Sonny here. Sonny's been my professor for the last 5 years. So I started with Gracie Umaida. I've seen a lot of people come and go, but I've always been rolling with Sonny and a few other people that have always been on my team and in my corner. I really started kind of wild. I was going through a lot in my life. I was going through a divorce. It was during COVID. I had problems. I was drinking too much. I was smoking too much. I was just down on myself. And I think that jiu-jitsu helped me to find who I really was, and to not be so, down on myself mentally. So, I would say that, I started jiu-jitsu, down and then now I'm up. That's the way that I would see it.
I got a similarity there, man. I had quit grappling for a good amount of time in my life, going through nursing school and then getting too busy. And then I remember I was going through a divorce as well. And that's when I stepped back on the mat, because, working out kind of helps a lot for depression and when you're going through stuff with anxiety. But it helped me get healthy. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, because I remember when you were at the academy, and your face was like, oh man, I can read you. I can read you like you're having a bad day or whatever, but you were there all the time, man. Yeah, I remember those first year he was there all the time, and it was pretty good experience. You were a white belt, but it's pretty good experience. Yeah.
and I came from a wrestling background. I think we talked about this before, but you kind of build a family in the gym to get people to lean on, people to like, take your anger out on, but they're okay with it. They bring it back, You build a little good community in those gyms. And, that's why people kind of stay loyal to the gyms most of the time.
Yeah. But what do you think was when you were new, one of the best experiences shared to the people that the very first few months, maybe a couple of months, what's the best experience that you got from jiu-jitsu?
It's hard to put a finger on the best experience, to be honest, because there are just a lot of good experiences. I mean, it kind of starts with just being the nail. They say that you're the hammer or you're the nail.
Yeah.
And then, I think when I started, I really couldn't figure anybody out. Everybody was better than me. And everybody was tapping me out. People were doing crazy moves on me. I had my hand stuck behind my back, and a guy who's older than me and smaller than me is sweeping me and submitting me and doing all these things. And I'm like, what just happened?
Yes, yeah.
And then as I progressed, I started being able to do moves on people. I started to be the hammer a little bit more, to realize that it's more complicated than that. It's really kind of going back and forth. It's more of a dance, honestly, because you don't know who you're going to get and what to expect from them. So I would say one moment is when I took down somebody who was much bigger than me. That was really eye-opening, when I thought somebody was kind of even than me in skill, but they were much bigger and stronger, and I was able to be faster than them and take them down somehow. That felt really good, honestly. I surprised myself, I suppose. And then, going up against trained police officers, even, we always had a lot of police officers, and I'll be honest with you, I've been more of a criminal in my life. And so, it was kind of just fun to tell people that were my friends, hey, I fight cops. I fight cops all the time. And, they're like, huh? So I'm like, oh, yeah.
But you also been into tournaments, yeah, right? So, how was your first tournament? That memory of your first tournament? How did you feel about that?
My first tournament, I was very nervous. I remember it was an in-house tournament, so I always started with in-house tournaments, and I felt better just going with people that I know, going with an organization that I know, something local. So I went to 2 in-house tournaments, and I honestly had a losing record. I think I was 1-3 in my first, tournaments, and but it still felt good to be able to put myself out there. So
yes,
I'm a competitor because I compete,
yes,
and I'm going to keep trying to win. So that's all that matters.
Yeah. So you're a purple belt now, right?
Yeah.
What would be some advice that you would give to like brand new people stepping in the gym, starting as a white belt?
Starting as a white belt, I would say just trust the process and learn positions. So a lot of times submissions come from just being in a good position, and it's really that simple. Even as a purple belt, if I can get from full guard to half butterfly quickly, I can probably get a sweep because I just changed positions very quickly. The other person didn't really know what was going to happen next. They might have been expecting one thing in one position, and then now I'm in a new position, and then I have them out of position. So as a white belt, when we do these things like just get into closed guard, get into half guard, get into mount, get into side control, it's really important to focus on the position itself and how you feel good in the position and how you can transition to another position, because there's so many positions in jiu-jitsu, and most people are only good in a few positions, to be honest.
You also work out, right? You also just lift.
I do. I probably don't as much as I should now. I think one of the questions, that I saw come up later is, what is your training regimen?
Yeah.
My training regimen is basically just jiu-jitsu at this point. I mean, I'm 46 years old. Yeah. I work out at my job all the time. So I'm always standing on my feet as well. I think that people who sit a lot or people that don't, work out, they probably need to do more. But I tell people all the time, like your daily life is going to help you in your jiu-jitsu. The more that you train other sports or other things at your job that are physical, then the better you're going to be. Some of the toughest people to roll with, I think, are just construction workers or,
They're strong.
people who just work with their hands a lot. So, it's just everything you do in life is going to help you with jiu-jitsu.
Would you say jiu-jitsu's helped you at your life outside of jiu-jitsu, or how has it affected your life outside work, relationships?
So I feel more confident at work. I definitely feel more confident at home or in the gym. I remember that when I started jiu-jitsu, I would go to the gym and see that there are, guys who are really strong, who are, really intimidating. And I am intimidated by them. I mean, it's natural. As a man, I don't really want to say that I'm intimidated by anybody. A lot of guys are just like, hey, I'm super cocky and I'm a man and whatever. But, it's realistic that when somebody's younger, stronger, healthier, that you think that they can probably beat you up. Mm-hmm. And there's just a kind of little bit of fear, when you see people like that. And I had that when I was starting jiu-jitsu, because in addition to training jiu-jitsu when I was getting a divorce, I also went to the gym a lot when I was getting divorced, because, it just helps to get all of the, emotion out that time. But
when it comes to like rolling or sparring, in your opinion, what is the most dominant position for you? What do you think would be dominant in your game?
So in my game, I like to be in the top position. So I have never really been too good at guard. I actually hated guard when I started. I would get taken down and then just not pull guard and then get dominated for the first, 3 or 4 months that I rolled.
So
and
top game. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's carried over to my jiu-jitsu now. Of course, I've learned guard. I've had to learn guard. But even when I get in guard, I always try to just get on top and stay on top, because that is where I get more submissions and I can hold people down more.
Would it be better like in your side control or mount? Obviously, mount is like one of the most dominant positions, or the most dominant position of jiu-jitsu. But you're with your game, is it what would you feel? What is the best one for you?
For me, I always like to try to take the back. So I tend to be a headhunter when I grapple. And even when I'm in side control, even when I'm in mount, somehow I end up ending the fight the best when I take the back, whether it's in side control, it would be the Darce or, a head and arm choke from mount. Yeah. But even then, I always end up on the back somehow and then get the finish.
So you're from top and then you kind of end up being on the back.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So what are some of your next goals in jiu-jitsu?
My goal is to get my brown belt and just continue to develop my game. So I really want to be better physically, because at my age, 46 years old, I notice that I'm way better when I am healthy. So it's kind of that simple for me at my age. I mean, it sounds like a lot of what people say all the time, be healthy and be active and do well. But at 46, I eat better, I train better, I am better. I stretch every day, I feel better, I am better. I get good sleep, I feel better, I am better. I am night and day when I'm not taking care of myself, or when I come in tired, or, not stretching for the whole week. So I just maintain my game when I stay healthy.
And then, so I do got a question. Where do you think the future of jiu-jitsu is headed. And this is going to encompass gi versus no gi, the encompassing bodies like ADCC versus IBJJF. Where is it headed with like flow grappling? Where's the future of jiu-jitsu, in your opinion?
I think the future of jiu-jitsu is no gi. I really do believe that people are, more interested in it.
Yeah, well, I think that's where we're going.
I think the majority of people think that, but why do you think that is so? Because it is. I think if you look at the numbers,
Yes.
no gi is outpacing gi by a lot.
Yes.
You got the B team
that
was
is
famous.
true.
There's no B team for gi. There's like no gi team that people watch on social media or are funny and like, follow big YouTube. We got a couple guys here and there.
The only thing is, like, for example, with the IBJJF, right? They've been there for a while.
Yeah.
So like, if you see it, like the tournaments are still packed. Like, it's gone. It's still packed. But for professional jiu-jitsu, I think
But the casuals.
Man, I think it's you're right. It's basically gonna be, the future is gonna be no gi. But I doubt, I don't know, but I doubt the gi is gonna be dissolved.
I don't think you'll ever be gone. You got small sports like judo is not that famous. Jiu-jitsu is way more popular than judo, but judo is still around. And you got like the go-hards that still watch Olympics and stuff. But what do you think is killing the gi versus why is no gi outpacing gi?
I think no gi is more exciting for people to watch. That's a big part of it. It's more explosive. Whatever can be done in no gi can be added to with the gi. For example, if I know how to collar tie, then if somebody's, wearing a jacket or has a hoodie, it's the same thing. It's just easier.
Yeah.
So I think if you know how to grapple in no gi, then everything else is an advantage because that's the most raw type of wrestling that you can do, or
So you
type
think it's
of
more
grappling.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's more exciting.
And and the gi is slower, so it's good for that. I mean, I think it's it can be a situation where I think more about my next move, and there's a lot more technique than explosiveness. Whereas in the no gi, it's a combination of physicality and technique. So I think people are just.
I think it's like with the no gi too. If you're more athletic, it would be a very big advantage.
Yeah,
because there's no friction with, like, usually, like, you're wearing a rash guard or pair of shorts. With gi, it has friction. It's a lot of friction. You could be gi can be used. Your belt can be used to trap your arms. So I feel like that's the difference.
So pace aside, because there's definitely a different pace. Like I know when I first came here for wrestling, my wrestling pace in the gi gassed me out so fast because people could just hold you for so long and stall. So some people might see the gi as boring because it's kind of slower, but it's more of a chess move. And then the no gi is a lot more intense and fast, athletic. So I do get that. Now, aside from those aspects, is there anything in the like regulatory aspects that you think differ majorly between gi and no gi that changes its marketing or popularity?
The point system is not really understood by people. People can sometimes see things from more of a UFC perspective or from the perspective of a fight and how a fight would actually go. Like if somebody is dominant for 4 minutes in gi and they go for 3 or 4 submissions, they can still lose if they get swept once. So that might change how people look at it.
What do you like? You like gi or no gi?
I'm biased, so I do like no gi. I like no gi a lot more. So and the reason is very simple. I have never really been injured in no gi. I only have been injured in the gi. So I've only been injured where I have my hands caught somewhere and then they get pulled, or I'm holding too tight on a grip and then it gets turned this way, or my arm gets stuck inside the gi and I turn it this way. And I have heard the opposite from people. I've heard a lot of people say, I only get injured in no gi. I like gi because I feel like it's safer for me. So I think it has to do with personal preference largely. I love gi and I love no gi. I think, all the organizations are good and I I guess I don't really like to say that one is better than the other because I can see that there's benefits to both.
Now, right now, IBJJF was mostly ran by the Gracies. They started it and they kind of still have the biggest foothold in the E division. But you have a lot of other organizations that are starting to come up in the jiu-jitsu world. Like ADCC's been like the second on top. IBJJF's number one, ADCC's like number two, and they're primarily only no-gi. And you have other organizations like NAGA, now the CGI, Craig Jones Invitational, UFC's getting into the mix. UFC's doing their special tournaments.
I think that UFC is, getting into the mix is pretty awesome. I just think that, they get paid, you know what I mean? So
the pay's there.
The pay's there.
Making a career outlet for people that do
I
jiu-jitsu,
think
right?
that's pretty good right now.
Who do you think's going to run it in the next 10 years? In 10 years, who do you think is still going to be the top dog? Will it still be IBJJF, or do you think some other company is going to take it and run with it?
Yeah, that's hard to say because I think that I think there's really two avenues for jiu-jitsu. One is the popular, just watching it every week or every month, like it's boxing or MMA.
Yeah.
And then that is certainly the no-gi. But then the other is the Olympics because, we're trying to get into the Olympics. And as far as I know, people are still doing it a lot in the gi everywhere. So the gi is spreading just as fast as the no-gi. I think jiu-jitsu is becoming popular worldwide. It seems that way to me. The internet, and just the UFC's beginnings have kind of sparked a lot of people's interest. And the more global that it becomes, the more of a chance it has to be in the Olympics, and it's probably going to be in the gi. So, I
agree. I think if jiu-jitsu is going to be in the Olympics, I think it will be in the...
I agree. Yeah. No, I definitely think... Do you think there's any roadblocks to getting it to the Olympics? Do you think there's anything that's stopping it from hitting? Like, why isn't it in
politics?
The Olympics? Ooh, who runs those politics?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly,
yeah, probably. Like certain rules, maybe, but I don't know. Like, it's a lot. It's a few roadblocks, I think.
This is just my opinion on it. I think if one family runs jiu-jitsu forever, it's going to stay in a box. Imagine if Greeks still ran wrestling, because they're the inventors of wrestling. And they said, hey, we're going to set the rule sets for the whole world. I think it would be still put in a box too. But everyone's involved in wrestling around the world. You got Russia, Iran, United States, India, Cuba. So I think in order for it to get into the Olympics, there's going to have to be a unified set of rules that's not controlled by one person, but like maybe a committee. There needs to be like a worldwide committee, I think, to make some rule sets. But if you were to decide the rule sets, what would be your favorite rule sets?
I mean,
I think one of the rule sets that I kind of like in overtime would be EBI.
I love EBI overtime.
EBI overtime.
They by far have the best overtime rule set. I would like a mix.
Yeah.
I would like
a mix. Yes.
Like I like
overtime.
I like ADCCs, no points for the first half of the round, right? So basically you can go ham. That there's no penalty to getting taken down. There's no penalty to working into the guard. If someone passes you, no penalty there. So they're not worried about falling behind. And the points don't start kicking in until the end, which I like, right? That way it's like, okay, we're not going to have a point rider here, right? Some people are going to go for submissions to win the match. And then if they don't win, my thing I hate the most, I hate advantage points. They're the BS, right? You either got the point or you didn't. And I hate ref's decision. That could be biased, right? The ref could be like, hey, I'm not really a top guy, I like a guard player. So this guy played guard well, I'm going to give it to him, right? I'd rather have EBI overtime rules. So I think they start with first ones, they do like another 2 minutes or minute round. First one to win points there wins. And if no one wins there, then it goes to pick a position, right? With the time to escape. And quickest escape or quickest to submit wins. And I feel like that would be like the perfect Olympic set for both gi and no gi, if they're to bring both. You can adapt that to the gi as well. Right?
Yeah. You can adapt that to the gi. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has to end in a submission. That's really, I think, what interests people, and that's more true to the fight, because you see a lot of fights that just go on and on and on and on. It's like, what would happen if this was a fourth round? What would happen if this was a fifth round? What would happen if this was a sixth round? Yeah. And jiu-jitsu is largely about the gas tank. If people go for hours, it's going to be boring. That's kind of the balance, I suppose.
Well, who's your favorite jiu-jitsu fighter of all time? Top 3.
You can pick gi and no gi.
I would say I like Marcelo Garcia a lot.
man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice. Yeah.
I think Marcelo Garcia is my favorite because he used technique and he was middleweight and ended up taking open. I think that to me exemplifies jiu-jitsu more than anything else, is being able to use skill rather than strength or athleticism. So
Yeah.
I think he's definitely my top. I mean, he's so
Okay.
fun to watch also.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
So
about your next 2?
my next 2, I think I like Nicky Rod a lot. You know, we had the seminar at our
Yeah,
academy.
yeah.
So Nicky Rod.
Shout out to Nicky Rod.
Yeah, Nicky Rod.
Shout out, Nicky Rod,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
Because he is very strong. He is very athletic. He is, actually just looks like he could fight just looking at him. But then he also uses technique.
Man.
And then he was able to come in as a blue belt and beat a bunch of black belts in
Black belt hunter.
ADCC.
Superman.
And, and to me, that's phenomenal as well. So, I always love his quote, which is that, if I don't know anything about jujitsu, but if I can lock my hands anywhere below your eyebrows, I'm going to strangle you, And I think for me, I like that because, I think it's kind of how I learned jujitsu in a way. It's like, I'm just going to go for it. And then, I might get submitted. That's fine. But I'm going to try to submit you too. And I might get taken down. That's fine. But I'm going to try to take you down too. And, a lot of times you just have to go for broke.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nicky Rod just did go for broke. So I respect him a lot for that.
Your third one.
My third one, that's a tough one. The third is always the toughest. I would say I like Felipe Andrew because Felipe Andrew, I know him and I've trained with him since he's part of our team. He actually did go up against Nicky Rod as well. So he went to try to go in the no-gi and, he's more of a gi player. But when I rolled with Felipe Andrew, I was so surprised that I rolled with him for 5 minutes and I was only a blue belt and I couldn't even touch him. Like his feet were just holding me. His hands were holding me. He was just like swaddling me like a baby. And I had never rolled with somebody who was like that,
Man, I think it's this feeling you get when you roll with anybody that's been a pro. Like when I roll with Johnny or any of those guys, they're just, it's crazy the difference, the gap.
The gap, yes.
Man, that gap is crazy. I'm like, man, that's why I can't ever be a.
Man, we roll with Johnny Guerrero almost every week, man.
That guy's a killer. He gets killers in his gym, Mateus.
Shout out to Professor Johnny.
Yeah.
Shout out.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some killers there, man. Anytime you roll killers, it humbles you. You're like, man, I got a while to go. Your head gets big when you roll in your own gym.
Yeah.
You're open on everybody. You're like, man, I'm the man. And the second you go to another gym, you're like, no, I got like miles to go before I can get there.
Yeah. So, Eric, we've had fun having you here, man. It's we wanted to see how your ideas about jiu-jitsu, how you started a little bit, so we really appreciate you being here. So what can you say to our audience, like a little advice or, your own advice to the audience or being in jiu-jitsu?
I would say just be consistent. That's the most important thing. It sounds corny, a lot of the same things that people say, but just keep showing up and be consistent. Being 46 years old, I know that there's a lot of barriers. I'm sure that whoever's listening to this has their own barriers. It could be losing weight. It could be an injury. It could be anything. But with jiu-jitsu, I think the good part about it is that whatever your barrier is, you just work through it. You just work through it, become a better person, start eating better, start, training what you need to do to be better in life. And then your jiu-jitsu will improve as well.
So one big thing that we want to talk about on this podcast for every guest, whether people know it or not, we use philosophies to get through life. Everyone has their own framework. What is your philosophy in jiu-jitsu? Like, how do you live through jiu-jitsu? What do you bring to jiu-jitsu? Why do you keep doing it? Like, what's your philosophy, jiu-jitsu philosophy?
My jiu-jitsu philosophy is to be relentless and never give up. So I have had a lot of struggles in life. I've had a lot of friends pass away. I've had, struggles with addiction. I've had struggles in relationships. I've had struggles financially, and I never give up. And so in jiu-jitsu, I think that is what I bring. I will always keep trying, and I'll never give up.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, we do want to thank you for being on this podcast. I did want to give each guest a gift. So hold on, let me grab it real quick. Now, I don't know how old your kids are, but I did write a book. It's called Jiu-Jitsu for Kids.
Yes.
Okay, you can't find it on Amazon, guys, and follow it on Instagram. Okay, but it's a good book. I don't know if you have how young your kids are, if you have any nieces or nephews, but yeah, man, I really want to thank you for coming on this podcast and being our first guest.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, Giovanni. It's been my pleasure.
Yeah,
I do appreciate
it, guys. And don't check out now. First, we're gonna let Eric show us his favorite move.
Collar tied. Then I put my foot on the hip. You're taking that. Lock up full guard. Here, hand around the neck, like your arm. Turn wherever I need to go. So I get the tap.